This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good afternoon, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST brought by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Tim Daniel, and today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app. Use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. Well, in this afternoon show, later on, we're going to dive into J.J. Bleday's struggles. Luis May has become a whole different person. The Reds lived and died by the big fly, but we start because things got a little feisty earlier in this game.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I don't know if you guys know, because that game was 9-8 and was pretty insane, and there was a lot of stuff that happened. But earlier in the game, which feels like it was hours ago at this point, things got a little heated there early on. So Sal Stewart, first inning, hits a homer, and, you know, he does that thing. He likes to bring runs in. He's really good at that, right? We all enjoy watching Big Sal do big flies. And so after that, we then see a situation where old Davis Martin throws at his head. I will give him one. And you even see Sal Stewart too. The ball goes over him. Sal looks back, kind of gives a little thumbs up and is like, okay, yeah, man, maybe it slipped out of your hand. And then the next pitch, hits him in the jaw. And you kind of see Sal use some choice words, if you can lip read, and point his bat and says that's 2 times. And then you see the bench is clear, and you're thinking, oh boy, this is going to be on the 6 o'clock news, isn't it? These guys are going to go at it. Davis Martin gets ejected. Cooler heads prevail. Then Eric Fetty comes in and gives the Reds 4 runs. So, yeah, it worked out pretty well for the Reds. But this was one where it was interesting. And the Reds have had a couple of these this year. So obviously San Francisco earlier in the year, Sal Stewart also in that one. That's coming up for that rematch. Also, Spencer Steer. Maybe he'll be back by then. So that one's coming up here soon in the near future. So we'll see how they go through that. And I think there was one with St. Louis too, but that's just common. But yeah, that was interesting. And I really liked that the Reds kind of got woken up by that, right? They went deep right after, and they started hitting homers, and they started getting some runs going. Like Cowboy says, like, look, this is a team that hasn't had the season they thought they were going to have. And you're a division leader. You don't want to wake a team like that up. Now, the White Sox definitely woke up too and made it interesting down the stretch. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But to see the Reds just kind of respond to that and take off offensively, excuse me, to just stop the just kind of like, especially after last night was really tough. They were having a lot of trouble. It wasn't a really good fun day for the Reds, but today they put that one behind them. They go out there and they put runs in bunches. They put 4 runs up in the 4th. And one other thing that was extremely nice is they were hitting tanks.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
So the White Sox do end up taking a 4-3 lead in the second inning. And that was not very exciting. Geno comes in, gets a sac fly to tie the game up in the 4th. And you're thinking like, okay, cool. We got a game. Tyler Stephenson says, oh, we got a game. Tyler Stephenson then proceeds to have, after Sal Stewart gets yet another single to bring in a run, Tyler Stephenson hits a 3-run homer to bring in Elly and Sal Stewart to make it 8-4. Now, the Pirates do end up putting 4 more runs on the board, but the Reds do win 9-8. So Tyler Stephenson, I'm going to go ahead and give them credit. But let's talk about the big flies in this one. Starting with, in the first inning, Elly's out, first batter of the game. Second batter, Sal Stewart hits a homer, as we mentioned. Makes it 1-0. And the way that sounded off the bat, oh my goodness, that was loud. I don't know if it's just because there weren't as many people there because the game got moved up in time or what it was, or like it just echoed. And that was awesome to see. So Sal Stewart goes deep. Then Geno, later in the inning, Tyler Stephenson gets on base, and Geno goes deep as well with the 2-run homer to make it 3-0. And you feel pretty good. You got Andrew Abbott on the hill, right? What can go wrong? What can go wrong, right? Oh, the White Sox put runs on the board. So Randall Grichuk hits a double in the bottom of the first that brings in Chase Madroth. I always get that wrong. I'm so sorry, Chase. Then Madroth goes out there and hits a ground roll double. That was scary too. If you remember, it bounced up and hit the foul pole. Like the Reds kind of got a break there. And then Grichuk comes up again, hits a double that brings in 2 more runs, makes it 4-3. So yeah, I mean, it was a competitive game. Obviously, the Reds get hot there. Geno gets a sac fly. Ty Steve hits the homer. After Sal gets the RBI single, and then the Reds get the bases loaded. Geno gets hit by a pitch. That brings in Sal again to make it 9-5. And then from there, the White Sox kind of get going. Andrew Benintendi has a single off of Sam Moll. Edgar Caro gets an RBI single off of Julian Garcia. I'm assuming this means that there's something going on with Emilio Pagan, but given the fact that the Reds are so good at their medical staff releasing information, there's no way to know until they tell us. Because, gosh, did any of us think it was possible that Hunter Green was going to have Tommy John surgery in spring training this year? Yeah, we did. Why did it have to come to now? We're going to have some fun. The Reds won today. I need to step back. But that was a really fun day, and the Reds offense was really good. And I saw the comment in there. Yes, Elly making that play at the end of the game to win it. Basically bailing out Julian Garcia and Sam Moll was really promising. So it was a nice day for them. Big win overall. Nice way to end the road trip, which was a disappointing road trip, obviously. I get to come home against the Marlins team that got shellacked today by the Pirates. So we're going to go and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about my man, Luis May, because he's found something. But first, let's give a big thank you to our friends over at Amazon. Oh my gosh, my throat is scratching me. I'm so sorry, guys. The back-to-school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. We all know how crazy the back-to-school shopping experience can be. It starts with a few items on the list, then suddenly you're shopping for supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and about 10 other things you didn't see coming. It adds up quick. When you look at the school supply list and wonder if you're shopping for one child or opening a small office supply store. I didn't realize first grade required this much inventory. Shopping like this can get out of control if you're not careful. When your kid spends days planning the perfect first day of school outfit because they want to make a great first impression, you end up putting almost as much thought into it as they do. At least the first day photos are worth it. When it's 9 a.m. the night before school starts and somebody suddenly remembers they need folders, notebooks, markers, and apparently 12 other things nobody mentioned until now. Nothing gets the heart rate up quite like emergency school shopping. I'm convinced Prime's Delivered Tomorrow Before 7 a.m. feature was created exclusively for parents in this moment. So remember, with Amazon's low back-to-school prices, spend less on your kids because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. Shop back to school on Amazon and spend less on your kids. Thank you again for making Locked On Reds your first listen each and every day. Whether it's me, you're catching up on the postcast the day after the game, or you're checking out Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds as well. And don't forget, if you are an everydayer and you listen to the show each and every day, why not go ahead and join the Everydayer Club as well? For $5 a month or $50 a year, get access to ad-free episodes of all your favorite Locked On shows, not just Jeff, Steve, and myself here at Locked On Reds. Maybe you're into Joe and Jake over at Locked On Bengals. Maybe you're following me around at Locked On Cavs. Maybe you just like the Patriots or the Mighty Ducks or something. I don't know. But anyway, we have a show for all of those teams, and we'd like to have you join us and talk with us in the Discord chat as well, because we like talking ball with all of you. And hey, look who decided to drop in from old Espanol today. Steve Offenbaker in the chat while he's living his best life on vacation and making Jeff and I extremely jealous in the group chat with really, really cool pictures. Hey, let's talk about Luis May today.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
All right, so let's talk about Luis May, because that inning that he threw today was awesome. So he goes in the inning with 2 strikeouts. The slider looked great. He looks like a whole new person. And obviously you can tell. So he's been up and down a few times with the big league club this year. First couple times he was up with the big league club did not look very good. It was a little worrisome. And the pitches were kind of the same thing. You know, Steve's here in the chat. He's talked about this a million times on the Mothership show, that he has the stuff, right? Just like Connor Phillips. Connor Phillips has the stuff. They just, for some reason, were having a lot of issues locating it. And they were having a lot of issues just kind of getting strikes. So whatever happened with Luis May, where they figured him out, was perfect. It was awesome. And that fact right there just gave them so much, because he's now become a guy that almost, I mean, whatever this Emilio Pagan situation is, maybe he's a guy that kind of slides down and gets that opportunity now, because he's in a situation now where he's played so well since he's came back up that I think Terry Francona has definitely earned some more trust from him. And that's one of the things that was really promising there. So Luis May finding his groove has been a lot of fun to watch and been great as a Reds fan. Other guys in the bullpen I want to talk about here. Let's talk about Tejay Antone. Strikes out the side in his inning. Looked great. I'm almost at this point, and I don't know how close I am to this, but I'm feeling more and more confident. Tejay Antone and Luis May are starting to look like setup guys. And like, I know I'm the guy who like hates bullpen rules. I think they're silly and everyone gets mad at me for saying that, but those dudes are really doing something right now. And look, Luis May is like 4 days in since he got called up. I understand I'm probably going overboard here. That's what I do. But Antone has certainly shown the ability to be someone you can count on and you can trust to be a really good pitcher. And Steve says it here in the chat, comeback player of the year. If someone gets it not named Tejay Antone, they shouldn't have the award. And I get it. There's going to be some big time hitter who's going to get it, but Antone's been so good battling back from his 3rd Tommy John surgery and is out there getting huge outs for the Reds in must-win games where they really got to take a series. They got to end this road trip on a high note, and he did just that today. So he was awesome. Yes, Pierce Johnson only has 1 at-bat, but that 1 at-bat that he got the strikeout was huge. The Reds absolutely needed that. And I think Jeff and I have talked about this, kind of just talking about the case of, you knew Julian Garcia was going to have stuff catch up to him. The numbers kind of show he was getting pretty lucky. And so now we're kind of seeing him find his groove a little more, and he's kind of gotten hit a little bit, right? I'm not necessarily worried about him because he's kind of a low flyer kind of pitcher. So we'll see if he can kind of get back to where he was last month before his last couple starts. I'd like to say yes, but we'll see how it goes. Now to the bad side of things. Sam Moll lasts just 2/3 of an inning, can't get through it, makes the game incredibly way too close for comfort, and gets us all scared. With having Brock Burke, and I understand you need more than one lefty, and I know Caleb Ferguson's not here anymore. I think the Reds need to figure out a new game plan with Sam Moll because what they're doing right now isn't working. If it's just like finish the year with him in the bullpen, okay, but put him in a situation where it's not this. It's not a must-win game, and I get it. They have a big lead, and it's up to him to hold on to it. They got a 4-run lead. It's up to him to just kind of go out there, low pressure, right? I don't know if I want Sam Moll in a game where I'm up in blast range. If I'm down in blast range, sure. What's the worst that's going to happen? The Reds come back and make it a game? Possibly. But I don't want him pitching in the circumstance he pitched today. And I know someone's going to be like, Tim, dude, it was a 4-run lead. I get it. I just don't trust him in this case. And today was further reason why. Brock Burke through 2/3 is pitching up Andrew Abbott's 4 1/3. I know Abbott wasn't necessarily good today. I don't blame Tito for pulling him when he did because the weather was a little funky in Chicago. I think he'll be fine for his next start, and I have no worries for him as well. Let's get to the lockdown player of the game before we dive into JJ Bleday.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
It's got to be our guy, Sal Stewart. I mean, Sal Stewart today, 2 for 4 with 4 runs scored, a walk, an RBI, 2 RBI, and a homer. Huge day for Sal Stewart. Not so much a huge day for JJ Bleday. Now, the OPS still looks very, very good. He still looks really promising. And I've liked what he's given the Reds. And now I know people on this very network have petitioned to say that they should have moved him. And they said it could be a brain injury situation where this is as good as it gets for him. You can't argue that that's the possibility right now. Obviously, 20 home runs and a 777 OPS. You're going to want to have that in your lineup every chance you get. But things have not been very good for him the last 30 games. A 183 batting average, a 309 on base, and a 394 slugging. In that time frame, he does have 7 homers, but he has 32 strikeouts. And he does have 19 walks. I mean, that's not bad either. But for him to be where he's hitting in the lineup, like it's rough. I mean, I think, what did John say? He's like 0 for his last too much is probably the right answer. Let me see if I can get just a quick general consensus of that real quick while I'm talking to you guys. So in August, he has had 1 hit in his last 6 games. Do I think he'll get out of it? Sure. But certainly something to monitor because that's not very promising. But hey, with that being said, and Josh says it here, Bleday just needs a day off. I think you're right. I definitely agree. But hey, maybe this weekend we'll get him rejuvenated. He'll be against the team that drafted him, and the Reds lost that series, that tied that series with the Marlins earlier, or did they lose it? I can't remember. I do too many of these. But hey, regardless, the Marlins are coming to town. It's gonna be a fun weekend. But the Reds are victors of the Chicago White Sox 9-8. The Reds have 9 runs on 8 hits and 0 errors. The White Sox have 8 runs on 12 hits and an error. Tejay Antone is your winner. He is now 2-0 with a 2.77 ERA. Eric Fetty takes the loss. He is 6-8 with a 4.51. And Julian Garcia picks this up his second save of the year and now at a 3.28 ERA. And the Reds come home tomorrow, and we got a pitchers matchup against the Miami Marlins. We've got Chase Burns taking the hill for the Redlegs at 13-2 with a 2.61 ERA, and he'll be going against Sandy Alcantara, who is 13-6 with a 3.52 ERA. So look, game's at 6:10. If you're going to be in the area tomorrow, check it. You get a 6:10 game with an awesome pitching matchup and a Rick Ross concert at the end. What more can you want? I can't get down there, unfortunately. But if you can, hang out in the chat after the game and, I don't know, tell us how cool Rick Ross is. We'll take it. But everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Early afternoon game. Reds get the victory. And please be sure to subscribe to us either on YouTube or your podcast app of choice so you can get me after every game and Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds. And don't forget about the Locked On Everydayer Club as well. Thank you all again. I'm Tim Daniel.